Turbo Conquering Mega Eagle! I just got my very first paycheck from YouTube for the adverts that you've now started seeing on my channel and that. So with our money, like, I've gone out and rather than do something sensible like buying a new camera, because this one's got weld spat all over it, the cheapest thickness of planer you can buy in England. So there it is, all assembled and thoroughly tested. Lovely little machine. I'll just say right now that it's probably the best, like, 180 quid I've ever spent in my life. You know, it's not perfect though by any stretch of the imagination. It's still a very, very cheap planer. Part of its downfall is the attempts that these guys have made to make this thing safe, right? Traditionally, I suppose a planer would have been the second most dangerous bit of kit in a woodworking, in a joiner's shop or something like that. Without this plastic guard on, you've got a tremendous risk of feeding your own arm into the cutter, and these are fucking sharp, innit? Right? Bloody sharp, sorry. Beep. I'll edit that bit out if I remember. And in making this machine safe, they've also made it a complete pain in the arse. I know a lot of people have written on the reviews, like Screwfix have a very good reviews page. They don't seem to edit it or anything like that. Like, people can be honest on there, and you'll see exactly what people think of the product. There's some terrible reviews of some gear, but most of the reviews on this were really good, apart from a couple of people saying that these guards were a nuisance. You can't operate the machine without the guards. There's a little lug. You see that? That lug there. That goes through a hole and pushes on a micro switch. I'll be able to show you if I ever get this screw out. For some reason they supplied it with a thumb screw that side, but just an ordinary Allen bolt this side. You know, no. Don't know why. And the same again inside. So you got to use the same attachment. Oh bugger. And put that inside if you're using the plane on the top, or if you're putting an edge on something. So a lot of people complained about this guard because it does take a couple of minutes to switch it over, and then a lot of people said that it's no bother. What I would say is that it depends entirely on what you're doing. If you're just doing lots of boards, it is no bother. I suppose if you're going to do 4 or 5 boards, then you've only got to change it once. However, if you want to square up a bit of timber, like this old fence post, well, it's not an old fence post, it's a brand new fence post. I've just had it a while. It's oak as well. Very nice. I've actually found a few bits. There's some cherry, Iroko, oak, and then a oak board at the back. It all came out okay, not brilliant, but okay. But what the problem with the plastic guard is that you have a very irregular piece of timber like this fence post, so you throw it through the thicknesser, and that gets you one smooth side which is parallel to the rough side on the bottom. Then you switch it over and you cut your second smooth side, so you end up with that surface planed and that surface planed, but these two rough, yeah, and not necessarily square to these two. So then what you need to do is run it over the planer with one of the plane sides against the fence, and which is tricky on this machine because you've only got a short bed and the fence isn't that long, and the equipment they supply to push it through is really no good for holding a fairly heavy 3x3 post against this fence. You need to use your hands really. There's another way of doing it, but with the guard slid across, that isn't the most unsafe thing. But then once you've done that, once you've got one square edge, once you've created your first square, so you've got smooth, and then you do this one, you use this smooth edge against the fence and get this edge square. After you've done that, you then need to go back to the thicknesser and use this smooth side on the bottom and a cutter against this remaining hard side. So if you're starting off with a rough sawn post, a square, it's essentially going to take you through there twice. Then you've got to change all the plastic round, go over the top once, or however many times it takes to get a smooth finish, then change all the plastic shit around, and then go through the bottom one. So they have made it safe, but in my opinion it's a bit of a fucking fiddle. If you're going to do loads of them, it wouldn't matter, would it? Because you'd get set up and do them in batches, and then your 2 minutes is lost amongst 12 bits of timber. If you're just doing one and you want to get it square quickly, then it's a nuisance. What else have we got? The fence is pressed tin. They've done a remarkably good job of getting it sturdy. They've even used a lumber cast iron for it to bolt to the machine itself, but the rest of it's mild steel. But that's okay. That seems to work okay. And then you've got an adjustment on the bottom. This is the bit I don't like. So that's to make sure that when you plastic, when you just if you're adjusting the fence and you just want to put it back to square, so you've had it on the angle and you just want to go square, you can just and because you adjusted this previously, you're reasonably square. That's not going to stay square. That's I don't. I appreciate this thing's got to be cheap, but it's not going to be a reliable reliable way of getting this back to square. There simply isn't enough meat there, and if you've bounced it around a bit, I don't know, something in between this face and this set screw right at the back on the other side of the fence, or the ranging system, is going to have moved in it. So if you're ever doing anything accurate, you know, you always got to put a square up against it just to make sure, I suppose. All the fixtures and fittings are a bit clumsy and chintzy, but I really don't care. Like, you know, it's 180 quid, and as far as I'm concerned, that's absolutely amazing money for something like this. It's nice and heavy. This is just Ali. This is what you'd expect now. I don't suppose anyone ever sells iron bed planers anymore. It's just a thing of the past, isn't it? Performance wise, I wasn't overly impressed, to be honest. You know, some people have raved about this thing because they've been playing with pallets, and certainly on the smoother and on the softer timber like this Iroko or Pepe, I can't remember what it is. It did a beautiful job. This post, I mean, I got the post and the board green at the same time a year or so ago. The board's seasoned itself pretty well now, and it's quite hard. The post post is still a little bit green, I suppose, I don't know. Post came out quite nicely. The board, I took some really fine cuts on it because I wanted to give it the best possible chance. You know, I don't care how many times I've got to put it through, as long as it comes out smooth, but it's still quite badly ridged. not badly, that's an exaggeration, just you can feel them, you feel them under the finger. Cherry I thought was going to be the toughest of the lot. It's actually come out lovely. Look at this beautiful bit of cherry, all those colours there. It's got lovely bits of olive running through the grain. Just a beautiful bit of timber. I love this cherry. Yeah, really nice bit of timber. This is the joys of planing rough sawn bits of timber. You know, it's like it starts pouring its heart out to you. You know, not that it's ever a good thing, but it is as far as a nice bit of grain timber is concerned. The rubber tyres that it uses to shoot the timber through the machine are leaving marks at the minute. The first time I put the oak through, this is the first board I did, as you saw, it came out of a lot of marks. Those marks are slowly getting less severe, so just be aware that if you were to get this machine and throw throw timber through, it's going to mark it to start with until those rollers have cleaned the factory dirt off themselves. That's pretty much it. You know, if I imagine this machine sold under 1,000 different names across the world, this one certainly sold under 3 different names in the UK, and Titan I don't think is an international brand. So if anyone's got exactly the same machine but under a different brand, then just ping me in the comments or something and let me know, because I'll stick that in the title too. Recommendations: if you're just dicking around like me, get it because it's cool. If you actually want something that's gonna be accurate and a pleasure to use, like as far as the controls are concerned, like, you know, don't buy your tools from Screwfix anywhere, I suppose. Like, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out, does it? Hey. Anyway, this is bought with the advertising money from YouTube. Thank you very much, guys, for watching my videos, because like, you know, I like doing fun stuff, so carry on watching them and share them and that, and like, because bloody hell, I need all the likes I can get always. They're very helpful. And yeah, take it easy. I'll see you again soon, I'm sure. Bye.